All right, well, it is noon Eastern, so I'm going to go ahead and kick this off. So I typically don't talk very much on these meetings. Normally it's Travis and Patty that do these, but I'm going to go ahead and lead this one today, partially because it's a very near and dear thing to my heart, which is project management. So I'm Brian Cottonsteady. Along with Patty, I'm one of the co-founders of Make Solutions. And I know a few of you that are on here, and I know over the past couple months, we probably have been talking about TransIT 8, or probably more specifically, just transit projects that are coming. But I say it's near and dear to my heart because I've spent probably 20 years in some capacity of project management, running projects, big and small, with some of you who are currently on the phone as well. So when give you a little history as we get started. When when Make was started back in 2012, Patty and I always had a vision of creating this tool that could really transform IT, hence the name TransIT. And as we have continued on our journey of making this application, a lot of that has been around testing, and we've gotten really good at testing and workflows and some of the initial project management pieces, but we've never had a full picture. And I think really now with TransIT 8, we are there. We are not completed on our journey. There's still more to do, but what I want to show you today is some really cool features that we have around projects. So as I start to go through this, I'm going to kind of sort of run through a story of how we create project intake requests, and then I'm going to flip over and start talking about projects, and then get into a couple nitty-gritty things for those who are transit administrators. They're probably more specific to you. But as I go through this, if you have questions or you want me to kind of dive into something a little bit more, please feel free to sort of jump in there. Best way is probably just to go and raise your hand through Teams. I'm going to try and keep an eye on that, but if I don't address you for a little bit, somebody from the Make team, if you can just keep me honest, we'll make sure that we're tracking those as well. So I have been presenting here. Let me flip over, make sure you can see my screen here. Can everybody see TransIT up here?
Yep.
Perfect, thank you. People always complain that it's too small. I'm going to make it a little bigger, but I do want to make sure I can kind of fit everything on the screen. So apologies if things are a little small, but let me know as well. So I am here in TransIT. I've come from the home page. I'm in one of our demo environments, and I have a new icon up here called Projects. Towards the end of the demo, I'm going to show you how I have that implemented on the screen. But when you first go into projects, this is what you're going to see. It's sort of your dashboard or your grid of all the projects that you have. You can also kind of think of it as a portfolio of your projects. But if you're in the project management space, you're a project manager, or you are an analyst who sort of is a quasi project manager, depending on your organization, one of the things you always get is new project requests. And so what we do now is have an ability to take in a project request and be able to have that go through your governance process, and then have that governance process either approve or deny that project. And I say deny a project. I don't know if you've ever been in a governance that denies projects. I'd love to see it. Everywhere I go, everything's approved regardless. But what I'm going to show you here is creating a new project request. So we have a project request button up here. We go ahead and click that. And you can actually see there's some project requests that are already out here. But what I want to do is come over here on the right to this orange and add a project request. So that's going to pop open this form here for me to begin filling out. And the nice thing about this is there's a lot of information under here. You're not going to have probably a lot of this as you begin to put in your project information, but what you can do is begin to fill out as much as you need to. And so you can see I'm here just filling out. basically the information that I'm probably going to know during this part of an new project request. So you can see if you happen to know priority or sizing, things like that, you can do that. And we also have a bunch of other information here. It's a standard template right now, so fill in as much as you can. In this instance, this is what I know, so I'm going to go ahead and hit save for that. It drops it into my project request dashboard. It's the latest one I have here. So I can go ahead and click into this. It's telling me it's a draft. If I need to, I can go and make any edits or changes at this point. It looks good to me, so I'm actually going to submit this as a project manager. And now it gets to a place where potentially you may have a manager or a director who wants to go review this. They may have some additional information that they want to add into here. And so they have an ability to click in here. Let's say they do know, this is a really high one for us in this department to get done. They can do this. And then they're going to click on ahead in the orange again. What we're doing is we're progressing this request through typical governance process to basically say, you know what, it's moving, it's hitting the right people in order for us to say, yes, this is an appropriate project that we need to go do. So in this phase, it would typically get to one of your higher steering committees, your governance committees. We do have the ability, if you say, you know what, this needs to go back, it needs to go somewhere else, we can click one of these buttons, send it back if we need to have more information. I know there are some organizations who get frustrated with the names of projects, the information that gets filled out, maybe for problems or opportunities, and they want that to get filled out before it gets to governance. So we do have that ability to send that back for more information before it comes forward again. In this instance, governance has everything they need. They say, yes, this looks good. We're going to approve it. So they'll again come up to this orange button and click approve on that. At this point, what we can do now is it's officially a project. So in order to make it a project, we need to go and create that as a project. And so this is where your project manager or myself as the project manager would say, you know what, I can go fill this information out. And I know that's going to be Donna, who's going to be our project manager here. If there's other information that needs to get filled out, overall health of the project, because we just started it, we'll just say it's on track here. I won't fill all these in, but these are typical fields that would be filled in as a project is being created or worked on. So I'll hit save, and now we have a full project that is ready to kick off. For the purposes of this demo, Angela, did you have a question?
I just want to let you know, Lenore put in the comments how many levels of approvals are allowed.
I think we have technically two levels of approvals that are in there. So we have one where it's submitted, you can continue to make changes to it. And then we also have kind of two more where it goes to in process and then to approved. So there's really 3 steps along the way to move that through the process. Right. So I'm going to jump back here into, let me go back into your projects here. That is the one we just went through, the provider self-scheduling. That's a very new project. For this demo, I want to show you working from an existing project that we have. So what I'm going to do here is come in and take a look at TransIT implementation. So this is an existing project that we worked on. It's kind of all filled out. This is more indicative of what you're going to see from a project that is underway. And what we're looking at here is just what we call our project page. And this is really the source of truth. It's the in progress working page where a project manager is going to continue to put updates into here throughout the day, throughout the week in order to sort of drive the project. So you saw a couple of those fields before when we created the new project that had some of these fields filled that allowed you to fill in the fields. Here's where you can begin to fill in other information. So you're working on the project, you can fill in your overall health. We have 4 different statuses for health as well, schedule, scope, budget, resources, and then a trending up, down, stable. You'll have an executive summary, achievements, and planned activities as well. But here's where we start to tie in existing functionality that we have with some new functionality, and then pulling it all together into this landing page. So you can see down here, we get to what we call risks, and this is new functionality in TransIT 8. And this allows you to tie risks to the project. You see, we already have one risk that's attached to this, and we've escalated one of 3. So what I'm going to do is go into here, and then you can see what we have is a chance to enter additional risks as well. So we have one here that's escalated. What we can also do is click on any of these risks and say under escalate, we can click that and we can escalate a risk there. And now if we go back to our project implementation, we can now see that that risk has been escalated. It shows up here on our dashboard, and we see that 2 of the 3 risks are now escalated. We can do the same thing with issues. From an issue perspective, we can see there are 5 issues that are assigned to this project. 2 of them have been escalated. If I click on issues again, I can say maybe this cardiology system doesn't have a test environment. This is important to me. I'm going to click escalate and escalate that one as well. And then when I go back, it pops up here on our page here as another escalated issue. The idea is we want to pull forward items that leadership is going to be concerned about. We want to make sure that they're showing up on here for somebody to go and take action on. The other cool thing we can do is we can attach timelines to this project. And this makes sense because you're going to have a project plan for this project most likely, and you want to be able to attach that timeline to a project. So if you're not familiar with timelines or you haven't used that very much from a TransIT functionality perspective, that's going to be your project planning tool that your project manager uses, very similar to Microsoft Project in terms of tracking resources and dates, milestones, that sort of thing. We can also attach multiple timelines to a single project. So if you're doing a large project that has multiple players, multiple teams that are working, you can track those timelines in a single project. In this instance, I want to go into the TransIT support timeline. Sorry, it's right here at the very bottom here. If I click on that, you can see it's a very short timeline we have here. And we already have one milestone that has been included in here based off of this red exclamation point. But if I want to take this next one, TransIT support timeline completed, I want that to show up on my status report. So I can click, right click, and then come down to add a status report. And now it shows over here that it's red, included in status report. And so if I go back following my breadcrumbs, it now, and I apologize, it shows up at the very, very bottom, but it is there showing. So this allows you to track your milestones that are important. You can see here as those milestones complete, they get checked off over here. So next thing I want to take a look at is our calendar for this. And we can get to the calendar by this green button up here. When we click on this, it's going to drop down and show us a number of different options. And these are all specific things that are tied to this project. So some of them are familiar to you, scripts, issues, workflows. I just showed timelines. We also have plans here. We have new items though, and I'll get to each of these, but the first one I want to show is our calendar. So if I click into calendar, what I'm seeing here is a calendar just for this project. So these are events that are happening this week for this TransIT implementation project. And so now this helps me identify what meetings are happening, who's involved in the meetings, but most importantly, what it's going to do is it allows me to track my meeting minutes and attach meeting minutes to each of these calendar events I have. So I can come over here, let's say this afternoon. I want to have another meeting here, and let's just call it a bug debrief meeting. And I'm here as the owner. I'm going to add a couple people. We're going to add Abdul, myself, Barry, and Brian here as our invited folks here. And then for the agenda, I'm going to say this is my agenda. And then I can go ahead and click save. And it shows up here on my calendar as a bug debrief. I can click on that once, it gives me the short details, or I can click to open it. And then what I can do is, let's say I'm just continuing this meeting, and I have my notes that come out of that meeting. I can go ahead and make sure that those get in there. I can do some formatting, things like that if I need to, and click save. And as I go through this, I can fill all of this in. And what always comes out of a meeting is a list of to-dos. And so what we have here is an ability to attach to-dos to this meeting and then attach them or give them to a specific person. So PO received. I'm going to leave this to the TransIT implementation project. I'm actually going to assign this to myself here. And I'm going to say the due date is Monday. And so I'll click save. What that has done is now it's assigned this to do to Aaron Grant. It's open. We've got a due date and what that to do is. And I will show you a little bit further on where that to do actually shows up on my list of things. But I've gone through, I've proofread my meeting minutes. I've attached any to-dos to this. So the next thing I want to do is say, you know what, let's go create those minutes. So I can come up here, click create minutes. That finalizes my meeting minutes. And now I have an ability to go and email out those minutes right from here. And if I click that, it's going to say my 4 recipients are the folks that I had attached to the invite anyway. If I want to add a message, I can do that. And when I click save, it's going to go ahead and send that the meeting minutes out to those people into email. It's going to be an attached PDF in that email. Likewise, if I just want to go look what that PDF looks like, this is what you'll see. Let me zoom in a little bit here for you. That's what it'll look like when they receive that in email. I'm going to go back. So we've had meetings. It's here. It is a Friday. Typically on a Friday, you end up finalizing a status report and making sure that any stakeholders or leadership has your final status report for the week. So what I would do here is I would just go through, make sure I have everything updated. I have done that here sort of during the course of the week in this meeting. So what I can do is come up under our orange box here and click create new and do a status report. What that's going to do is essentially take a snapshot of our screen here and say, here's your status report. And best thing to do here, click on view as a PDF. And it's given me a nice customized version here of the status report that you can go ahead and make sure that your leadership gets. And you can email this out through TransIT again, so you have an ability to go and make sure that the stakeholders or key resources have access to the status report. And so I think it looks really nice, and it saves so much time because essentially during the course of you doing the work that you need to do, which is creating a status or keeping up your project, the status report is being created for you. So you're not having to go translate this into another Word document, translate it into a PowerPoint, anything like that. It'll just come directly out of here for you. So one thing that I do want to show you here is, you can make it so not everybody that gets a status report necessarily has to have a TransIT account. And this is something new as well. So if you were really quick, you might have seen here, we have this user external. And what this is doing now is basically saying, if you want to send this to somebody who has never logged into TransIT, most likely is not going to need to be in TransIT as a user, you can go and now create an ability or create them as a non-TransIT user in order to get any emails from you. So I'm going to go ahead and add myself external user just so you can see what this will look like. tinker@bank.com. Super easy. And one of the big key differentiations on this is you as a project manager or you as a user of TransIT can create this. You don't have to go have an administrator add them. So that's a really nice feature for us now. So now Tinkerbell's been added. Before I go and sort of show you that and show you a couple other things here from an org settings perspective, I want to pause here because I've run through a lot of stuff in the last 20 minutes. I want to pause here, see if folks have any questions, comments, certainly can dig into any more details that anybody may have.
Hi, Brian. It's Christina from Jackson.
Hey, Christina, it's been a while.
I know, right? I have a question about the escalations that you showed with the little, I think you showed like a little checkbox
Yes.
that you wanted to escalate a risk. Okay, when you do that, like what does that do other than say I escalated it? Like, is there like some other functionality behind that to provide a report of escalations to an executive or something, or?
At this point, no, it's not firing off anything to anybody. It's just allows you to say, this is something that
What's
I want
A13?
to show up on my status report. And then you would have to, as a project manager, go ahead and do anything with it at that point.
Okay, so you're just, but does the
Okay, I
risk
didn't know that.
show on the status report regardless?
It will show on the status report as long as you have that escalate flag set to yes.
Oh, and if you don't have the escalate flag, then it doesn't show on the status report.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, understood. Okay,
Yeah.
and then the rest of it is up to project manager to contact the escalation person. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, Brian, I had a question. Which of those RIDAC items or like the to-do list as well, do those trigger email notifications to the person it's assigned to?
Yes, they do.
Yes,
Jay.
they do. Yeah.
And just there was a couple other questions that I answered in the chat. So Leo wondered if there was an ability to batch send out reports. And the answer is no. At this time, each project manager decides when their status report is ready to send, and they click that distribute button and it sends them out. And then also she asked if there was integration between our calendar and Outlook. And I said not currently, but we're working on it.
Yes. Thank you. Leo, I probably could have guessed your questions, but thank you for asking them to the group.
You're welcome. Would you mind showing us that risk screen again, where you have all the risks? I'm sorry to interrupt you. I hope you
no
have a
problem.
minute for that.
Yep. So the risk screen is here. I got that from clicking the risk breadcrumb. And then you have add project risk up here. So when you do that, you have a number of different additional fields you can fill out. Resources not available for meeting. That's a typical risk that we have. And then statuses, we can say that's been identified. And if you know, you can assign that risk out to someone as well. And then certainly add categories, probability as well, and then an impact to that happening. And then usually you'll have some sort of a risk strategy, whether you're accepting it, you're mitigating the risk. And then if you need to, as we were talking about, we can escalate that. So there's a lot of fields you can fill out from a risk perspective. And then it's really up to each organization to decide how much information they need to put in for a risk.
Good. I was
Nice.
looking for, the reason I wanted to see it was I was looking to see if there was like a standard set of risks that you would have for all your projects, like at a PMO kind of level. Or it's just a one by one, you would just add them one by one. It
Uh,
looks like one by one, right?
Yeah, we don't
Okay.
have like a template for what a risk would be. I mean, I know you always have lots of resource conflicts, but we don't have a template where you can just pull it because I think you may spend as much time modifying it.
So one of the other things, Brian, maybe to point out is that these new pages that we've created, so the projects, the risks, they do also have our customized columns feature. So that's not meaning that everybody should go out and add a million columns to each of our pages, but they do have that same custom columns, customized columns that we have available in plans and other places throughout TransIT.
Mhm. And the same thing we can do with issues, you can also follow a risk. So if you are interested in it, every time there are updates to it, you will get notified on that as well, even if you're not the assigned resource. Great questions. Any other questions about projects?
Yeah, I
Oh,
did. So I think just to piggyback off of Patty's comment about the customized columns, is that like tags, for example, if we tag something for like a specific team and that's the list of all the items we want to bring to that team, is that how we could use that feature?
So
yes, yeah. If
tags,
you wanted to create teams, yeah, I think you could go create a customizable column for that.
but you were asking about tags though, Jade. Tags are at a personal level. Labels are ones that you share across people. So I don't know if you can pull in the labels or not if you right click, if that's one of the columns available, Brian. If you go to the columns,
No, it's not.
it looks like not, but that's a good thing for us to put in for an enhancement request if you think that would be important.
I think labels definitely would be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I do have another question. This is more about volume in your system. So we've come across issues at Jackson where whatever tools we've used in the past for project management end up becoming pretty slow, like the performance over time when we add so many projects to it. Is that a concern that you all have with your infrastructure?
I would say no.
Yeah, I would say no as well. I mean, Christina, there are organizations and probably yours included that have hundreds of test scripts and modules and workflows and other piece of functionality. So while we are adding that on, I think in the overall scheme of the volume transactions that are happening, I don't expect projects to add that much. But I mean, we are constantly looking at our performance and we're hosted through AWS, so we'll always make sure we've got the horsepower there for people to use it.
Okay, sounds good.
And I hope Jackson is going to volume stress test us and use it lots. So we'll guarantee it for you there.
I hope the same.
Yes.
Thank you. Will this recording become available later?
Yes, we put all of our recordings out on YouTube, and we post them out there. So I'll make sure that we get that link out to everybody after
Yeah,
this.
I really want to share this with Scott and the PMO.
Oh, perfect. Yes.
And can I just interrupt for a second? Jade, you were meeting specifically on the risks page that you wanted the label added there, right? It was for risks?
Maybe even for some of the to-dos. So if there's like a meeting with a specific group and we want to pull up like anything assigned to their team.
Okay.
Like that. Yeah. Thank you. And I did have one more question on the to-dos. When it's specifically in the meeting notes, when you create a to-do, in the next meeting, does it keep like the active list of to-dos, or is that just meeting specific, like each occurrence?
It does keep the active running list. And, you know, they stay on when they're done until you remove them, so that you can see that next meeting after it was done that it actually was done.
Yeah, and I have the list of to-dos pulled up here, so you can view it in the same way that you would view issues or risks assigned to the project.
Got it. Okay. And I think it's more so like on the meeting notes. Is it just new to-dos that are added specifically
No,
to the meeting?
That's
or also
what
shows-
I was saying. So the to-dos show up at the bottom and they form a list. Once they're done, they stay on that list for that next meeting so that everybody can see that they were done, and then they'll fall off after that.
Beautiful. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yep.
I'm going to go through a couple org settings real quickly. If you're not an administrator, you can take notes so your administrator knows. If you're an administrator, these are things you can do today in your system if you want to go activate any of these things I'll be showing. I'm going to open up in a new window here my org settings. Just remember off of that little icon here. And real quickly, I just want to show you, remember we created those outside accounts so we could send email calendar invites, meeting minutes to folks. So you can see here our Team Curate Make Solutions. So this person is in here just as somebody that we can email to. Again, they're not a TransIT official user, so they won't be able to log into TransIT. Basically, anybody who has a blank here in user type is just able to go send to through email. But if this person now says, you know, I'd like to become a full TransIT user, you can right click on them, click activate user. You've got 90% of the information already there, their email, first, last name, and it will do a duplicate check along the way, and then we'll be able to make them into a TransIT user. If you're using projects today, primarily through timelines, that is sitting here under projects. So if you want to restrict access to any of your projects, if there's sensitive information, if you don't want everybody in the organization to be able to see size, stat, those are organizations. So make sure that into click on. This is going to give us the ability here to go under organization settings. Follow along under your org settings, just go under preferences and then turn on projects, calendar, and to do. So we have it turned on. You see it here. If we come over to the very far right on our breadcrumbs, we do have a couple new icons here. I'm just going to run through all three of these so you can see about the to-do. So the to-do list, this is not project specific. This is just out there. Being logged in here, I have two to-dos that are assigned to me. And I can go ahead and go into any of these and make notes on them. I can say, you know what, I really got to get to this. I want to personally, this is my key one that I need to get to immediately. And you can go ahead and as you complete it, you can move it through the in progress. and then you can say that's done. And now that that is done, that's going to drop off of the open to-dos on that TransIT project. Now, back here, we can see that that one that I had assigned to Aaron Grant, TransIT implementation, the key one is now set at done. And if I go into my personal to-do list, I now only have one out there anymore, UKG upgrade. Next thing is the calendar icon. And the difference between the calendars is the calendar that sits up here on my breadcrumb is a calendar across all projects. So we're looking at a calendar of every meeting across every project, not just the calendar for a specific project. So you can see there's a few more things out here. We didn't see this before, but I put that VUG debrief meeting out in our project, but now we can see it's happening at the same time as UKG. Staffed for all of our different meetings that are going on. And again, look at different things. You can also look at meetings that are owned by you that you've been invited to. You'll start to manage the view as well. So you can see some of the meetings that I've put out here that are there versus all the projects meetings. And then lastly, this is not brand new with TransIT 8, but I do just want to make sure that you're aware that we have the notifications bell up here. And if you click that notifications bell, one of the previous functions we had is what we call our @ mention. And so if you do the @ key and then start typing in somebody's username, it allows you to assign or sort of get somebody's attention that you want from a comment perspective. So I have a notification here, a workflow notification to go take a look at this workflow intake and triage process. So it just gives me, instead of shooting out an email, I can send a notification to a specific person if we need them to look at a plan, look at a workflow, take a look at a test script. And so if this instance, I can click in here and I can do this. And I know this is not a project specifically, but I can go ahead and see, okay, I've been asked to review this intake process specifically, and then I can go ahead and do that and work sort of a to-do, similar to a to-do list, but just a notification that may come through. So those were all the things that I wanted to show you today. Again, there's a lot of new functionality that's coming out here with TransIT 8. Just coming from using project management tools, what I love about this is now it's a single tool, and anybody who's in project management knows you've got 20 different tools that you're using, and some of those tools you can't share with other people because they don't have licenses to it or access to it. And really, with the way everybody has access to TransIT on this meeting right now, you can give access to anybody on your team. And that really makes it easy to say, you know what, if you want to make workflows as part of your project, you can. If you want to go see the status reports, you can. You don't have to give access to a SharePoint. You don't have to give access to Visio project to see what's going on. So it's just so cool to be able to put all of this together in a single spot and creating that consistency for everything. And Christina, yes, workflows and scripts do get tied to a project. So I didn't really go into any of that, but you can see any scripts that are part of this project here. So we can see 5 scripts that are part of this project. And let's see, I probably have some workflows as well. Yep, 4 workflows that are part of this project. So as long as when you're creating those workflows or scripts, you can go ahead and make sure that they're assigned to that specific project. Any questions?
Running scripts in TransIT for a while. Project could be like current state versus future state kind of thing. Is that the same data element, the same project data element that is being also used for these?
Yes, yeah. So current
Okay.
state is kind of the default, but yeah, as you create a UKG project, an Epic implementation, those become projects, and then you attach the workflows, the timelines, the scripts to that project, and then it all sort of gets collated in under this project page.
Awesome. Okay.
Yep.
For the projects, is there a way to separate them by department, portfolio, where even from a security perspective, folks are only seeing projects they're a part of? Is that what you were showing with the users?
Yeah, that's where if we go under org settings and we come here under projects, we click on projects. Here's where we can set user access, and that's where if we're doing an EHR upgrade for some reason, if you didn't want specific people to see it, you would just assign access to the people who should see it, and then it just won't even show up for anybody else.
Okay, so it's project by project, individual projects versus like grouping all projects in a specific area. Is that possible?
Um,
So
Like
I
at a
think you're asking if you can group them by portfolio. So you see it's a
Portfolio.
column right there on the screen, Jade. So
Mhm.
you set
But
up all your
do-
portfolios and you can put the project into a specific portfolio, but you can't right now do security by portfolio if that's what you're asking.
Got it. Yeah, whether it's portfolio or department, something like that. Yeah. Okay. That would be cool if you
Okay.
can do security by portfolio or department.
Can we do it by teams though, Patty? So if you created
Yes.
a patient care team, you could assign everybody in the patient care team access to that.
Yes.
So yeah, I think, Jay, that would be helpful. So you would have 20 people in a team, and then you would give that team access. So quality might be a good one who only should be seeing their stuff. You could just go create a quality team or a clinical informatics team, whatever you want that team to be. And then assign the team access to that project.
Got it. And then with that, is there a, I did see the project page that you shared earlier, like that dashboard page of just that individual project. Do we have
Mhm.
that at like all the projects within that, just like an overview of projects, just like the whole portfolio essentially? Is that
So we
maybe a
have
feature?
this right now. That is one of the next things that we're going to be working on is a portfolio where if you wanted to see a portfolio of just patient care, getting down into the dashboards of that. And I don't want to give you any sort of timeline on that. We're still in the early development phase, but that
Brian-
is our next one. Yeah.
But you can also use the green. So everywhere in the transit page, that green button is a filter button. So right now you could filter it. You could create a view for the specific portfolio. So you could create a patient care view, and then you could just go in here and choose patient care, and that would be all your patient care projects.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
And we can customize columns here as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There we go. So I'll just create that, and then, yep. So I've created a new view called patient care, and now it's just my patient care portfolio.
Thank you, guys.
Brian, can you show the custom column, just how to do that? Just, I don't think we need to create one, but just for the
Yep. So
demonstration.
yep, just right click on your header up here, and then you can go to customize columns, and then it gives you the options of, we have some that are already existing here. And if you wanted one that's not listed, you go up here to add column, and then it gives you your label that you'd fill out, the control type, and then sequence is where you would want it in reference to the other columns, and then you would just go ahead and save that. And if you're familiar with creating custom columns across plans or other places, this will be familiar to you to do that. And I know we've run through things fairly quickly on this call, and it's just really kind of a high level, get you excited about this. But anybody who's on this call that would love or wants to talk more about how to go set this up for your organization, please reach out. We'd love to have a conversation with you about sort of our best practices and making sure that you're developing this sort of with what we consider best standards, and then making sure that it works best for your organization as well. So, Jade, Christina, I know you both have asked some questions. We're more than happy to jump on a call with either or both of you and make sure we can walk through any of this too.
One thing, Brian, that I think we should show is how easy it is to see the non-user users in the user file. You can just sort on that first column, because what you're going to want to make sure is if your project managers start adding non-user users and you need them in a test round or you need them in something, that you're going to want to set them up as real users.
Yeah. Yep, so you can just filter them to the top or filter them to just those. And so now you can see who those specific users are.
I mean, hopefully if somebody sets up a user, they contact the admin anyway and said, I set them up, but in case they don't, it's very easy to find them.
Mm-hmm.
And if I recall, you did mention there is duplicate checking so that you don't keep adding a non-user over and over again.
Based on
Yes.
email address, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Jade
We have
has a question in the chat. Can percent complete be added to the project's view where it would pull from the overall percentage of the project timeline?
So that's not something that's out there yet, and I can add that as a request. But see in the screen where Brian's showing now, you can actually have more than one timeline on a project. So if you were doing, an Epic implementation and you had one for each of the modules in Epic, you would have a whole bunch. So it's probably not as straightforward as it sounds, but I can add it as a
I could
request.
see a percentage complete next to over here, maybe, Patty. But yeah,
Yeah.
we could maybe solution. They don't have to solution it now, but I like that idea.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? This was really the one thing we wanted to talk about today. I know in previous VUGs, we would go more into issues and other enhancements that have gone on. But we will have that in our newsletter that goes out next week. So if you are interested in sort of the corrections and other enhancements, that will sort of be a definitive list of everything that's out there. So, but today we wanted to make sure we spent the time just kind of walking through this. If there are no other questions, though, we will let you go. Thank you very much for joining us today. And please reach out with questions, or if you need a refresher on how to go turn this on, gladly we'll help you. But hopefully you're starting to get as excited with this as we are. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Take care. Bye.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.